So this is Sylvester Turner. And Sylvester Turner, he had served the 18th District of Texas. He was a congressman, but he was only a congressman for 2 months. Sylvester Turner is going to die right after attending Donald's State of the Union address. He had complications. He went to the hospital, and then he went home, and he wound up dying in the early morning the next day. One part of me thinks that the State of the Union address was just so damn awful that somehow led to the complications that led to his death. He talked about not messing with Medicaid. He says when you mess with Medicaid, that's like a direct attack to families like Angela's. He was newly elected to Congress, and he had been diagnosed with bone cancer. So I'm not for sure exactly what the cause of death was, but we could take a look, see if Wikipedia had mentioned what he had died of specifically. So this is Sylvester Turner, and this is important because we've got 4 vacant seats in the House, and there's 4 special elections in the House, and there's only a deficit of 5 members in the House. So let's take a look at Sylvester Turner. He was the 62nd mayor of Houston. He was in the Texas House of Representatives. He got a bachelor's degree in political science from the University of Houston, and he got a Juris Doctor from Harvard Law School. So he's been in the political game for a while. Here it mentions his illness and his death. In 2022, he was diagnosed with bone cancer. And then here it says, in the afternoon of March 4th, Sylvester Turner fell ill while working in the Cannon House office building complex, but after receiving medical attention was able to attend President Donald Trump's address to Congress that evening. Later, he was briefly hospitalized before discharged to his Washington residence, where he died in the early morning of March 5th at the age of 70. He's the only member of the 119th Congress to die in office, and the second incumbent representative for Texas 18th District to die in a 1-year period, after Sheila Jackson Lee. So Texas Governor Greg Abbott is going to be the one who has to order the special election, and it typically happens pretty quick. There's an election in Texas on May 3rd, 2025. A lot of times these special elections will coincide with the elections that they're already holding. But it's up to Greg Abbott. There's also the U.S. Constitution says that vacancies are supposed to be filled by special elections. So this is going to be one district that's going to have a special election. Sylvester Turner, who's going to serve in Sylvester Turner's his seat. Now you have 2 special elections that's happening in Florida. So you had this guy, Michael Walz, and Michael Walz was chosen by Donald Trump to be his nominee for the White House National Security Advisor. And so since he's going to be a part of the executive branch, then he's not going to be a part of the legislative branch. And I'm not for sure it says he's supposed to be. I'm not sure if he got the job or not, because they can nominate you and then you might not win. So he said he was going to appoint him as National Security Advisor. I don't know if he's been confirmed or not, but it says that he has resigned his seat prior to taking office. So I guess he got the job. So Michael Waltz got the job. He's the National Security Advisor. But now you have an open seat in Florida's 6th Congressional District. You also have an open seat in Florida's 1st Congressional District. This was Matt Gaetz' old seat. This is right here at the tip of the panhandle and that's the race between Gay Valamont and Jimmy Petronas. Here, Randy Fine versus Joshua Wheel. So Florida's 6th congressional district is going to be between Randy Fine and Joshua Wheel. Again, what does all this matter? Right now, the makeup of the House is 218 Republicans and 213 Democrats. And so that would be a deficit of 5. There's 4 vacant seats. Now, presuming best case scenario for the Democrats, if they win 4 vacant seats, then that'll bring the House total to 218 to 217. Democrats would still be down by 1 chair. And that's all they need is just, the majority. But that also will be harder to get because all you would need is just 1 defector. Right now with a deficit of, 5, 218 to 213, technically speaking, 5 Republicans either don't vote or if they switch, you just need 3 Republicans to deflect. If you have 3 Republicans who don't agree with the particular bill, then they won't be able to get their majority. And so a lot of people vote their conscience and they don't just vote their party. So you might also have Democrats that vote the other way, but just with a 1 vote difference, if just 1 Republican did not vote for the bill, and all the Democrats had voted in unison, if it was 217 versus 218, then that would be a tie. And then if you had 2 Republicans that deflected, then the bill would be defeated. And so since the numbers of the House are super duper close, kind of razor thin margins, by winning the 4 seats and making the deficit only 1 vote versus 5 votes, that'll give the Democrats more leverage. So instead of waiting until 2 years from now, till midterm elections, till 2026 would be the elections, November, and then they would take the seat 2027, we could end up closing the gap because let's say another best case scenario. All 4 vacant seats, it's difficult. It's going to be a difficult race because in, just say, this 6th congressional district, there's so many more registered Republicans than Democrats. And since there's so much more registered Republicans than Democrats, it's going to be a difficult election to win. But let's say best case scenario, you get Josh Wheel. Josh Wheel wins the 6th congressional district of Florida, and Democrats win all 4 of the vacant chairs, and they're down by 1, and then something else happens. Somebody else is picked to be a part of the administration, or some other illness or death or resignation happens. Well, now we got a tied House. And if it's tied, then that would give both parties equal say in how the House is governed. And then if it happens again, then the Democrats could take back the House. Right now, this government is very much a Republican government. From the top to the bottom, the Supreme Court, the House of Representatives, the Senate. Do you have 2 special elections in Florida, but you also have a special election in New York. The special election in New York is the 21st Congressional District, and that's because Republican incumbent Elise Stefanik, she's going to be chosen by the president to be his nominee for the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. And it says that here she hasn't been confirmed by the Senate just yet, but a lot of these confirmations are just getting rubber stamped and they're just getting pushed on through. So we have 4 vacant seats, 4 special elections coming up, and these special elections in Florida is coming right up. The Florida special elections is going to happen on April 1st, 2025. So that's, 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks away. And so this was just pointed out to me by Jasmine Crockett. And the margins are razor thin. I could see a world where Gay Valamont wins this district. Since it's a special election, instead of having a whole bunch of representatives running at the same time, because pretty much all the representatives run every 2 years, you'll have, more focus and more attention on this election here. With more attention, you'll get more donations. And then Democrats are already tired of Donald's shit to begin with. But after seeing all the havoc that they're trying to push through right now, some people are saying it looks like he's trying to crash the economy to do some shock doctrine. It looks like he's trying to shock the hell out of the American people by having 100 executive orders, just kind of shocking everybody into submission. So he's making massive sweeping changes, and it's not even consistent with a lot of Republican principles such as free trade and other things. So, yeah, there's 4 special elections coming up. New York 21st District, the Texas 18th District, and Florida's 1st and 6th District. This is coming up April 1st. So this one's going to be right around the corner. And then Sylvester Turner, his election for his seat, it sounds like it's going to be in May. May the 3rd, 2025. So you're going to have 2 elections in Florida in just a month, and then you're going to have 1 election in Texas in 2 months. And I'm not sure when the New York election will happen. So even though it's the Republican government, it's a Republican government because they got the Senate and they got the presidency and they got at least 6 of the 9, conservative justices of the Supreme Court. All 3 branches are the Republicans. So it's do or die. The buck stops with the Republicans. If things are good, well, then they get the credit. If things are bad, then they get the blame. But politically, electorally, the Democrats aren't that far away from being able to flip the House. They need to focus on these elections and these races, and really they need to start building a culture of people running for office. Let's read a couple of these articles here. So they're talking about Sylvester Turner. They're saying they're mourning the loss of Sylvester Turner, a dedicated leader who spent decades shaping the community he called home. It says, really, they go on and on about his rap sheet and how long he was in office, but they're not saying he had built a museum or a library or anything specific. So they're sad about it. He was remembered as a remarkable public servant whose career spanned decades.
They're very, very quiet.
You talk about not being able to finish some things as mayor.
Yeah.
The city and firefighters have been in a contract dispute your entire time in office. Why hasn't that been settled yet?
Well, the dispute with the firefighters predates me. And the controversy, for example, with firefighters was with the previous administration as well.
And so for your 8 years, though, still no progress?
Because there's one question that I think is important for whoever sits in the mayor's seat to ask. What's in the best interest of the city? When I was in the legislature, for example, I had a A+ voting record with firefighters and the union. Okay? But as mayor, I'm the CEO and the manager
Of the city?
of the city. And the question that mayors have to ask, what's in the best interest of the city? You can be my friend, but if you're asking for something that's not in the best interest of the city, it's important for me to be able to say, I respect you, you are my friend, but no. If you ask me for a 29% pay raise in 1 year, and I know the city can't afford that, in order to maintain your friendship with me, should I give it to you and hurt everybody else? Or do I need to be able to say, you are my friend, I hear what you're asking, the city can't afford it?
No compromise, though.
Well, it takes two to compromise. So may not be able to give you 29%, may be able to give you something else. But if you are sticking with what you are asking for, and you're not willing to look at something else, then we're going to have a problem. I'll give you a case in point. Police officers, when they negotiate, they never leave anything on the table. I've negotiated with police and municipal workers since I've been here. Police officers will come in and their leaders will yell and scream and say, look, Mayor, if you don't respect the police officers and pay us what we work, we will hold a press conference on you. Okay? And they're serious, and then you'll go back and forth, and they'll put forth an offer, you'll put...
All right, so there's a little bit of Sylvester Turner talking about the issues that he has with, that was when he was a mayor. So, let's see, do I have anything else? I think that'll be it. That'll be a good ending.